I was talking to one of my friends lately, and he was looking over my YouTube stuff, and he's like, dude, you've been really hyped up on the Avengers. You've been doing nothing but talking about, like, the Avengers, Marvel, superheroes, all this stuff. Aren't you the Toon Critic? Aren't you supposed to be reviewing animated stuff? Yeah, I guess now that the hype for the Avengers is over, I can go back to being the Toon Critic. I'm sorry, but the Avengers, for me, is such an interesting thing to talk about. There's so much to talk about with it, the character story and all this. I mean, technically it counts. It's based on a comic book, comic books, man, I'm really digging on technicalities here, but now that the hype for that is over, I can finally focus on animated stuff, the stuff I'm supposed to be focusing on. And I almost completely forgot that Inside Out was coming out soon. Pixar's first movie in quite a while. We didn't have one last year, so we decided, hey, we're going to get two. Wow, I can't even count. Two Pixar movies. So this should be interesting. And managed to see it opening night. There was a lot of kids. Out of my element, but whatever. Shout outs to my friends that I went with. You know who you are. And is this really worth all the hype? Because I overheard earlier in the morning everybody was praising, oh my god, this is like the greatest movie ever. Ah! Is it? Well, let's find out. Greetings, every peoples. This is your cult of personality, ToonKriticY2K's name, and tunes are the name of my game. Inside Out. Everybody's talking about it now. I guarantee you Tumblr is going to be swarmed with Inside Out stuff, because this movie did a lot of good things. For one, it was relatable, it provoked a lot of interesting thoughts, and it's probably one of Pixar's best movies. And I know Pixar's done a lot of stuff. I think it's on WALL-E's level, but not above it in terms of visuals and storytelling. So, brief plot synopsis. Inside Out has the concept of what goes on inside your head. You have these 5 different emotions that control a console in your brain that allows you to operate day to day and all this other stuff. You have the main emotions are joy, sadness, anger, jealousy, and fear. Now, all 5 of these coexist in your head, and it's up to them to, make sure you don't go crazy. And the main character's name is Riley. Her adventure is that she's moving from Minnesota to California. It's a whole new environment, so the emotions don't exactly know how to handle this. So I can't really tell you exactly what happens, but there's a lot of stuff that goes down. So, yeah, how's that for a brief plot synopsis? Okay. So this is my thoughts on Inside Out, and man, as I was rewatching a little bit of it online this morning just to kind of refresh my thoughts, I really don't have a lot of things to complain with this. I know that sounds weird. I know that lately people have been being smashed, oh, you're too positive, you need to be more critical, you shouldn't be afraid to do such and such. I kind of said that, but it's hard to find something to complain about this that doesn't come off as nitpicky, or it's just a minor aspect of the film that can be looked over, that doesn't ruin the overall product. So, let's see. The story for this was, as I said, relatable, and the characters are relatable too. They really work well off of one another. And the story I find is well paced, and it's unpredictable. I really could not tell what was going to happen. I figured there was going to be a happy ending, because, most of those are, but they did some surprises here and there. And with this, you have the main focus being on joy and sadness. Interesting team up for the two of them. I love the characters in this. The characters, the story, and the visuals are the 3 big things I want to talk about. So let's start off with story. I've already talked a little bit about it. There are some interesting twists and turns that they go through that many would not see coming. And as the story progresses, as the emotions start faltering, it's interesting. Because if you watch this movie, not knowing about the emotions, if you watch one half of it as opposed to the other half, it's still a pretty interesting story. It's interesting to see that, you know, you could actually see a kid reacting like this, moving to a new environment, not knowing exactly what to do, understanding that a lot of things are going to change. And in the movie, happiness and sadness, through a series of unfortunate events, end up outside of the console and not being able to control Riley. So all that's left are anger, fear, and jealousy. You really want those three running your brain without happiness or sadness, because you're going to turn numb, and it's not going to be a good idea. And they really show that, too. They really show that she starts to deteriorate. They make the main focus being on memories, on how Riley slowly develops from being like a little kid to 11 years old, and how all those memories mean something. The story, for me, was thought-provoking in a sense that it actually kind of examined myself a little bit in this. I looked at myself and thought, okay, I kind of have those emotions. I kind of know how this, you know, process works. It's on a visual level, too, so they took a lot of great things and put it on a visual medium that, you know, is relatable for adults, and it's also relatable for kids. You know, they can understand it. And I looked at this, and I kind of remember having some moments like this, too. I can relate to this movie. I had to, God, it's unprofessional. I had to, not that. I had to go through a situation similar to that so I could understand where the kid was coming from. I understood that, you know, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy when you're trying to coexist. You got emotions fluctuating all the time. They kind of hinted at the end, you know, with like, oh, what's puberty? Well, let me tell you. Which leaves plenty of room open for a sequel. I would love to see a sequel to this. I'd love to see a TV series. I want to see a continuation of this story in some way, shape, or form. You know, it would really be great. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say for story. Characters. Oh man, the characters are great. The characters really bounced off of each other well. The three that I loved the most: joy, sadness, and anger. Let's start with anger. You could not have picked a better voice for this character than Lewis Black. Now, I'm not the hugest Lewis Black fan. Sorry. I know DeWill Snyder is. I know DeWill Snyder loves Lewis Black. So I think he's going to get a kick out of this. And is it just me, or does anger remind me, or anybody else, of Super Meat Boy? If he's really pissed off and got a 9-to-5 job that he did not want. Just saying. Oh, man, Anger is so cool. One of my friends was watching it with me. He's just like, I hated everybody in this, but Anger is the one I can relate to the most. See? There you go. And it was really cool how Anger, you know, jumped around in each other's brains. During the credits, they showed different characters and showed the insides of their heads. And there were all different versions of that, so I thought that was really cool, too. Let's see. Sadness. You know, Sadness is a character I really did not like, but there were certain moments in the film that made me realize, you know what? I take back what I said. You are important. And sadness is something we tend to avoid. Sadness is negativity. We try to always get away from it. We always try to be positive, and negativity always brings us down. We view negativity as a bad thing. That, like, you never should be negative. You should only be positive, happy person. Well, that's not exactly the case, because you kind of need sadness in order for, you know, certain things to happen. When you're sad, it takes both sadness and happiness to, you know, get some things turning in your head, make you think about some stuff. So that was good. They didn't make Sadness a useless character. Nobody was really useless in this, per se. They all had an important role to play. And I thought that was really cool, too. Let me see. The voice they picked for it was good, though. Phil Smith. I really like that. Now, Joy. Oh, man. Joy is such a great character. Like, you can tell that she is easily the most positive out of them, but she has some flaws here and there. She can't always be happy. And I thought that was great, because it shows that not all the emotions are stereotypically that one thing. You know, there's room for each emotion to change. There's reason for these emotions to do different emotions. And they really show that happiness and sadness together can make something important as well. You know, how I think happiness is always important to a kid, and sadness kind of ruins some things. You don't want that happening to a kid at an early age. You don't want something traumatic to happen that's going to end up, like, you know, controlling their life. That's not a good thing. But Joy Firstly, the character design for her was great. The voice they picked for her was great. Very energetic, very believable. That's the other thing about these characters. They're all believable. Even the humans are believable. It's really great to see how that works out. And, you know, the interactions they had, the chemistry, it was real. It was believable. I could understand it. I could relate to it. I could believe it. And there were some parts, you know, which almost made me, you know, tear up a little bit, you know. That's a good sign. I care. I care about these characters. They're all very well put together. They are flawed. They are real. You know, they're as real as you can get. And I like that the writing today is making things more relatable to how we are in society today. So that takes care of characters. Now the last thing, visuals. Visuals is easily this movie's strong suit. Well, yeah, it's an animated movie. But the visuals in terms of the metaphorical aspect, you know, like train of thought, long-term memory, imaginary characters, the memory dump, memories fading, all this stuff. They take all these great ideas and make them visual. They make them as close to, like, you actually feel like you're in somebody's brain. And that is really cool. I've not seen a lot of things do that. I've seen, I think the latest Friendship is Magic, Friends Forever thing did that. But I've never seen it done like this, where you have different aspects of the personality of, like, Funland, Hockeyland, Familyland, Honestyland, all this other stuff. You have so many great things working, and that's really cool to see. Let me think, what else? Really very colorful as well. I love colorful movies. I really should watch them more often, because, you know, after all the Avengers and Marvel and live action stuff, I come back to Inside Out, and it reminds me why I am the Toon Critic in the first place, why I love looking at all these movies, and why movies like this today make me proud to know that, you know, Pixar is still running strong. Had a little bit of a, you know, road bump. I guess this doesn't make sense with Cars 2. But Inside Out is going to be one of their biggest movies. So I would say, you know, definitely go see it while it's in theaters. You will not regret it. I'll say that right now. There is so much good about this movie that the only negatives I can think is that maybe it could have gone on for a little longer, or maybe they could have explored different aspects. You know, it's just the little stuff. So I can understand why this movie gets so much praise. I know that Tumblr is going to eat this movie up, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be an Inside Out fandom soon. Yay, and they're going to have people wanting... I'm just going to say this to you people right now. Don't turn this into the Frozen fandom. Please don't. Because I love this movie. I do not want it to get overhyped. I do not want the hype to kill it. I don't want anything bad happening to this movie. I will take this over Frozen any day. Please do not screw this up. But then again, this is Tumblr, so yeah, that's all I really have to say on this movie. I feel I could probably make a good actual review of this, but this is my thoughts on it. I definitely want to go see this again. I will definitely buy it when it comes out. I will definitely show support to it. So, yeah. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. And I'm going to ask you guys, if you've seen Inside Out, please put in the comments what you think of this movie. And I guess another interesting question is, do you think, in terms of, like, how the movie handles emotions, do you think that someone can survive with only 4 or 3 emotions? Is that possible? Leave that up to you. Food for thought. You know, thinking about it and stuff. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon, my Twitter, my Tumblr, all this other good stuff. And, yeah, I think that about takes care of it. Go see me at Anime Midwest when that's coming up in, like, 2 weeks or so. So, yeah. That being said, I am the Toon Critic, keeping you totally tuned for your viewing entertainment. Stay awesome, and have a nice day.